Hi all. Another quick follow-up, more information about vaccine safety. This one is specifically to address the ingredients of the vaccine. My wife's cousin Wendy from California asked me some excellent questions, and I just want to tackle the first one because I think it follows up nicely. So it's not difficult to find the ingredients of the vaccine. I talked about the vaccine being an RNA vaccine first, so that's the active ingredient, which is at the top here. It's got a long name, but basically it's a piece of genetic material that's encapsulated into lipid vesicles. These four chemicals are then mixed together in the presence of the active ingredient to form these lipid vesicles. On one hand, the lipids act as adjuvants or irritants, which serve a good function of attracting the immune cells to the injection site. But the potential downside is you could have some sort of allergic reaction to one of these four chemicals. So I'm going to bring up this image on the screen, which is a cartoon drawing of a lipid vesicle or a lipid nanoparticle. These are on the order of 100 nanometers or less, 50 nanometers, very small, similar in size to viruses, about 1,000 times smaller than a cell. And it has the word PEG, so that's polyethylene glycol. These lipids don't like water, so they form little greasy balls. So those little helical structures inside the lipid are supposed to represent RNA or DNA. But in the case of the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, that's the RNA that encodes the viral spike protein. So going back to the list of ingredients here, we see one of those ingredients is a derivative of polyethylene glycol. So some of you may recognize that as a component of antifreeze, but there's actually different chemical versions of polyethylene glycol. One of those is the stuff that you drink in preparation for a colonoscopy. So there are some reports in the literature of people having allergic reactions to the preparation that's given before you have the colonoscopy. And if you've been through that experience, you know it causes diarrhea and it basically goes right through your digestive system. But some people, in rare instances, have an allergic response to polyethylene glycol. So this, so this is what could be an explanation for some of the rare severe anaphylactic reactions that vaccine recipients have had. There's only a handful of these reports, but I thought it was important to bring this up because I talked a lot about the adverse reactions to the vaccines in the Moderna literature, the publication they put out describing the 15,000 or so patients that received the vaccine and then a different 15,000 patients that received the placebo. People that received the placebo would have received all of these ingredients except the active ingredient. I don't have the statistics in front of me about how frequently this kind of allergic reaction might happen, and it's not even clear if it's polyethylene glycol or it could be one of these other ingredients. Not likely to be cholesterol, and it's almost certainly not these salts. These are inorganic salts that we get in our diet routinely, so these are not a concern at all. But again, it's worth pointing out that millions of people now have received the vaccine, and my understanding is there's only been a half dozen, maybe a dozen at most, that people that have had anaphylaxis or a significant enough allergic response that they've had to been treated with epinephrine usually. And my understanding is these individuals typically walk out of the clinic within 6 hours. And this would explain why when you go to get the vaccine, you're asked to stick around for some period of time to make sure that you're not going to experience this type of anaphylactic reaction. So there you go. There's more information. I hope that doesn't scare anyone. I still have a risk benefit calculation in my head that it tends to make me think that it's worth getting the vaccine, and with the proper attention to your own medical history and the proper attention during the vaccine experience itself, I think these kinds of outcomes can be avoided. So that's it for my latest installment on vaccine safety. This video was recorded January 30th, 2021. Take care.